So after all this commitment, after all this hard work, how do women feel when the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution that emerges, actually excludes women politically? Even the word equality doesn't include women.
Well, this is also a great debate whether it's something foisted on women or whether this is something that women, an ideology that women also help mold. Their status is improved. They're still in the household, they still don't have formal political rights, but you move from, just to use terms, notable housewife to Republican mother. Not as in the Republican Party, but the Republic. And the idea is, for the first time in the history of white American families, women socialize their children. Women are being told, and not just their daughters, their sons, women are told that the survival of the Republic depends on them raising up patriotic sons, sons who are willing to do as their fathers did, fight and die to preserve their liberty. And this is what the woman is going to do.
So they've had the wool pulled over their eyes.
Well,
I mean, I'm remember the ladies, Abigail Adams.
Not really. Because women do be careful when you give an inch ideologically. People tend to want to take a mile. The women said, that is, educated women, usually urban women, usually northeastern women said, fine, we'll do that. But how can we do that if we're not educated? How can we teach them the history of the country if we don't know history? How can we tell them what liberty and a republic means if we don't study political science? How can we need to be educated if we're going to educate our sons? And young ladies' academies arose in every single one of the new states. And as I often say, administrators then were as lazy as they are now, and so instead of creating a brand new curriculum, they just took the curriculum from male Latin schools and male prep schools and gave it to the women's schools. So you get a whole generation or two of women who not only have been educated, but who have spent time together. And you know what happens when members of a group get together. The first thing they discover is the discontent they're feeling isn't personal, it's political or it's social. And you know, it's only 70 or so years from the Revolution to Seneca Falls. In history, that's not a very long time. What Abigail Adams is asking for, by the way, is not political rights.
Tell us what she meant by remember the ladies.
She's asking for legal and economic rights. She wants, when women get married, that they don't become totally economically and legally dependent on their husbands. She wants married women's property acts.
So a modification, at least, of coverture.
Yes, and of course it doesn't arise until the 1840s in New York. And oddly, for reasons I do not understand and would like someday to research, the first state to have married women property laws is Mississippi, not New York. Yes, there's a story to be researched there.
That's interesting.
She's asking for some kind of economic independence, and that fits with the activities that women engaged in the Revolution. I mean, there's a wonderful exchange of letters between it's true, he was a wealthy man, he's a loyalist, he leaves the country, flees the country, and he leaves his wife behind.
Who is this?
I am blanking, you'll have
That's
to
all
forgive
right.
me, blanking on their names. He writes, and do this first, and then do that first. Incredibly detailed instructions. And she writes back, don't worry, dear, your farm is doing fine. 6 months go by, he's writing, how's everything going, did you do? She writes back, don't worry, dear, our farm is doing fine. And 6 months later, you know what the pronoun is. Don't worry, dear, my farm is doing fine. So
wonderful.
I think that this, and certainly Abigail Adams was left all alone through much of the Revolution to manage not only the farm but land they had invested in. She was literally the man of the household for most of that period. What she's asking for is that the rewards of the Revolution be that women be able to will what they brought into the marriage to their children or not, that women be able to keep the wages that they had earned or make decisions about what to invest money in. And so I think that that is much more on their minds than what those of us who've been reared on the suffrage movement think right away they're asking for political rights. No one is asking. I haven't come across a single woman, not even Judith Sargent Murray, who, though she writes in her Gleaner essays, women could, there have been women queens, there have been women who've run countries, there were women judges in the Bible, women could be involved in politics, but she doesn't ask for that. She says women should have education, women should have economic rights. Those are the two things that she really asks for. So whether we think they're smart or not about this, they're interested in some measure of autonomy, both intellectually and economically, much more so than voting. And remember, a lot of men could not vote either. Women don't begin to feel deprived until white male suffrage
Spreads.
and they're the only people left out. Then they begin, and black men get to vote, and what about us? What about us? The 18th century, you had to own property, you had to be they don't feel left out in the same intense way, but they do feel left out in terms of law and economic rights.